that Raila fears responsibilities.
Exactly.
Why do you think?
He fears responsibility because he knows he can be very careless. You know, Raila is that kind of... okay, Uhuru used to call Kibaki hands off, eyes off, ears off, everything off. Raila is the kind of person who trusts people like Junet Mohammed or Hassan Joho. He will give them power and go to sleep. And he drinks and gets drunk and doesn't know what is happening. That is what happened in the last election. Let me tell you.
Good morning and welcome back to Havana Media. My name is Boniface Awino, and as usual I'm going to be your host for today. Now, I'm very glad here to have two of the greatest gentlemen in this country, the political analysts, and I'm here with them. I know you've been seeing them here, perhaps maybe you've been seeing one of them, but today we decided to have at least a 3-people session whereby we can talk about different things, because everybody have got things, different ideas. So coming together, we have got Dan Lukurito at the further end, and then we also have Thomas Umwao at the middle, and then as usual, I'm Boniface Awino. So before we go far, or before we start our discussion, I would like to give Dan Lukurito chance to speak. And please, Dan, as you start, I want to ask you this question, and I don't know how you're going to answer it. You're a father.
Yes, I'm a father of many.
Of many. Your children, perhaps maybe grandchildren.
Where I come from, we don't count children.
You don't count children. It's right. So you're a father of many. Being a father of many, let's assume that one of your kids was playing outside with a gun. Let's assume that maybe you are a policeman, and then one of your kids took your gun and then went outside playing with it, but by bad luck, your kid shot another kid. The kid that he shot is your kid.
So my child has killed another child of mine.
Yours.
Yes.
So your children have killed each other. Remember, the gun is yours. The child that has killed the other child is yours, and the child that has been killed is yours. And then the policeman comes. Now your seniors come, and then you are told to take the culprit to the police station. And remember, this one is a junior who is less than 12 years or less than 18 years. How do you handle the case?
Yes, that is a tricky one, but you know the law remains the law.
Yeah.
So I think the law will follow its course. And but despite the fact that I've lost one child and one is likely to be jailed, even myself, because the gun is mine. But you know, these laws were made to bring order in the society. Yeah, so I not expect that I'd be treated in any special way because I've lost a child by another child and the weapon is mine. So I'll just let the law take its course. That is my thinking.
That is your thinking.
But I don't know what you are thinking. Why would you ask me such a question?
I'll come back to you. Okay. Let me go to Thomas. Thomas, when an eagle flies,
yes,
it goes higher and higher to a place whereby no other bird can reach.
Exactly.
And when it comes down here, it has got no power down here, because down here we have got a lot of birds. And then when an eagle comes down, it picks a chicken, or a chicken. Let me use that word. Yeah. Assuming the chicken that has been picked, you are the hen, and the chicken that has been picked is yours. What will you do?
You know, they normally say that we have rules of play. Like, for example, the eagle knows the rules of play, and it plays best in the skies, but not in the ground. So as the hen, it has an obligation of shielding the chicks.
But why would you shield? This is a battle that you cannot win. This is a losing battle. This is a losing battle. You also know that this one is a losing battle I cannot fight.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I can mention.
Tricky one though. So back to you, Dan. You mentioned that you let law take its course, and so it means that maybe you'll allow your child to be arrested, or maybe you'll decide now to go to jail on behalf of your kid. I'm asking that question because of what is happening in the country right now. We have got a lot of problems happening in the country, and my first question is this: as we enter now, as we start our conversation, that would you vote for William Ruto coming to 2027?
Which you know there are two William Rutos, from what Justin Muturi told us the other day.
Yeah.
So is it the one I see campaigning or the one who rules?
No, the Ruto that rules, not the one that campaigns.
The Ruto that rules, and even the one that campaigns, like he was campaigning the other day in Central. You know, this is official campaigning.
Yeah.
And the other side also better start campaigning, because the president is already doing so. Personally, given what I know now about him, he'll not get my vote. Neither will he get a vote from anybody I'm in a position to influence.
In fact, that is, in short, you are trying to say that we cannot get a vote in your family.
In fact, I can predict here and now. In the next election, if it will be free and fair, Ruto will go home very early in the morning.
Why would you say that? And yet William Ruto won during the 2022, and he was not in. Okay, he was not in
Bonnie, I think I've shared this before, and you need to look for somebody called Dr. Mbai. Possibly bring him to this studio. He will tell you the story. But let me take you quickly back a bit. The journey to Ruto's becoming president started earlier than many people think. And in the 2012 campaigns, the Uhuru used to say, "Kumi yangu, kumi ya
Ruto."
So at some point when we saw it is like Uhuru was trying to turn against Ruto, we offered ourselves, many of us across the country. And I'm saying this based on, I'm sober, I've not taken anything. I was the national organizing secretary. And we worked with the likes of Dr. Mbai, who recently resigned as the head of the presidential delivery unit. And if you listen to what he said, he has the same sentiments like me. We campaigned for this guy, and that is the reason he won. He didn't win because he was a better candidate than Raila. Remember, he won by only a margin of 200,000 votes.
So he won because you were smart during the campaign? He
won because we put in our organizing skills for him, and he didn't pay us. We did it with passion because we liked what we saw. Just like what is happening today, and I think we will come to that discussion again. You see, when people are supporting you out of passion, it is different from those ones you have paid to support you. We supported Ruto without asking for a single shilling from him. We actually went into our pockets and put in money to go around the country and campaign for him. He didn't even know. In fact, at some point, he had to send people to ask us whether we were being funded by the former CS for internal security to discredit him. Because I remember at some point when we were somewhere in Taita Taveta, we did a press conference. And later that evening, the president complained and said that Ruto had revived URP. You remember Ruto used to have a party called URP?
Yeah, URP, yeah.
That evening we got a call, and the call was about whether we were being funded by somebody to drive a wedge between him and the president. You see, Ruto himself even didn't believe that we were genuinely supporting him. But the reason we supported him is because we believed in him at that time. That is the Ruto that many people knew. But when he got in power, he he became another Ruto that many of us don't know.
So after getting into power, he changed.
Yes. Now, if we were to deal with and this is to the rest of the leaders, not only Ruto, and I hope he watches this. You see, when you are a leader who changes according to seasons or situations, you are not a leader to be. Actually, we should not even call you a leader. I saw Honorable Mbai this morning and said Ruto is a very sly leader. He's not even trusted by anybody. And I agree with him. I don't trust him either. I trusted him in 2018 up to the last election. I don't trust him either.
I'll come to you now. Let me just under that issue of trust and changing, Thomas. Why is it that when leaders are elected, before the election, they seems to be nice to pay Kenyans, they seems to be good in good terms with Kenyans, but the moment they're elected and now they're in offices, they change completely?
Boniface,
yeah.
In the social contract theory, I like reading about theory so much. And today I'd like to talk about the social contract theory that was propagated by people like John Locke, Thomas Hobbes, and also someone by the name Jean-Jacques Rousseau. These great gentlemen agreed that those who occupy positions of power do so or because of the will of the people. And because they are there because of the people, they are supposed to work for the people. And if they fail to work for the people, then the people have the obligation to get them out of power. William Ruto wrote the top echelons of power in the elections of August 2022 because of the will of the people. The voter margin between William Ruto and Raila Odinga was 234,000 votes, as my brother said. People believed in his bottom-up economic transformation agenda because he was believed to come up with economic policies that could uplift the people. But Boniface, 2.5 years down the line, we have seen what's happening in the country. Talk about punitive taxes. Talk about pay slips. Those who are employed are seriously crying about the punitive taxes by the regime. So what I can say, coming back to your question, is will William Ruto get a second term? This is what I have to say. Kenyans have cried loud and clear, and they have mentioned that they are not only sick, but also tired by this regime. Or they are tired by this regime because our life is extremely hard and difficult. I can say that Kenyans are living from the very bottom of the barrel because of the economic policies by this regime. Corruption has taken the center stage. Those who are stealing left, right, and center are seen in broad daylight. Talk about the Adani deals. Talk about corruptions day in, day out. People are stashing millions and millions of cash in foreign accounts. You know, money is when you have money and money is not circulating, then it implies that the economy is doing bad. And our money, our currency, is a legal tender. Even if you have some money, if you have a note, and if you read it, it indicates that it's a legal tender. It's a legal tender when it's in circulation, when it's in the economy. But now here we have what we call the primitive accumulation of wealth, as put forth by a gentleman by the name Karl Marx in the Communist Manifesto. Primitive accumulation of wealth in the sense that people are accumulating wealth, and this wealth is not even assisting them. You know, Boniface, there is no need of accumulating billions and billions of money, then you go and stash it in foreign accounts. It doesn't add up.
So it's like you have 10 cars and you assume that you can drive all of them at the same time.
Yeah. So there is no circulation of money in the economy. So what happens when there is no circulation of money in the economy starts crumbling. You see, this is why we are crying about you see, people, you get money and Like, for example, currently as we are speaking, if you have 1,000 bob, if you find that you are just buying two, three things, then it's over. So as my brother said, this regime has been characterized by a grandiose display of opulence, especially by those who occupy positions of power. And this is what has tainted the image of William Ruto. And I think it will take a lot of time for him to redeem himself. So going to 2027, the head of state is going to have a Herculean task to campaign and also to be re-elected. And as I said here last time, not even Raila Odinga is going to assist him. In fact, my fear will be confirmed when Raila bursts out in the run-up to the...
We'll come to that. You've mentioned something concerning the economy, and that one brings me to this question on Anbodana. What is your stand? According to the way the current regime is ruling, they think that when you increase when you want to collect a lot of tax, you increase the high standard, the rate of the high standard of living, so that you can collect a lot of tax. Because I've come to realize that putting something to run at maybe buying something at 2,000, yet it was 500, is not helping you to gain a lot of tax, because very few people have that money. So what is your stand? What is it that this government is supposed to do to make sure that that Kenya runs well economically?
Boniface, there are countries in this world which are taxing their people even up to 60% or over. People don't have a problem with paying taxes, but they want to see what are these taxes doing. If you are going to tax me and there is nothing to show for what I have paid, obviously I'll have to ask questions. Now, when I ask questions and instead of you giving me answers, you start telling me things like what I saw the president telling one of the journalists the other day on a national TV, that wait until you become president, then you will implement those ideas you are talking about. But let me do what I know. That already tells you the kind of leader that we have. And I've listened to a lot of people. Just before I answer your question, I've listened to a lot of people who have worked with the current president, and they keep confirming that he doesn't listen to advice. If Ruto listened to advice, even now, what we gave him just after elections when he was planning the first round of increasing taxes, we as a movement wrote a letter to him and advised him against, and we correctly predicted that if you continue with this, you are going to face protests from Kenyans. That was back in early 2023, but he never listened. What happened in June last year will remain a date in history, that our parliament was invaded because people were angry with the way the government was being run. So as I said, Bonnie, we have an obligation as citizens to pay taxes. But then the government should be accountable. And that is why it is important, in my view, that, there are people appointed as cabinet secretaries in ministries. And the county governments call them chief officers. The former permanent secretaries are now called what? The chief accounting officers in ministries. Yes. These people should be held accountable for every shilling that goes to their ministry. So that even if we have rounds of launching projects like, it is so embarrassing that a president can spend a lot of money and a lot of vehicles, hit the road and go somewhere in a remote village to launch Mtaro. What is Mtaro in English? Or even what I saw, launch one classroom. This is a whole, that is the job of a class teacher, not the principal of that school is supposed to do that. The president is elected and is believed to be a unifying factor in a country. And sorry, I've gone
No,
beyond
it's okay.
what you asked.
Yeah, it's okay.
But let me just refer to what I saw. Almost everywhere the president went and was trying to address people, they were saying Ruto must go. Or they were saying Wongo. Why? Because people no longer trust him. If I were him in that position, it would even disturb my mind. I don't think I'll stay in that seat for another day when I realize that everywhere I'm going, people don't want me. You see, it is like you going back to you maybe you are married, and every day you go home, your wife tells you, I don't want you here. Will you keep staying in that house?
You will not have peace.
You will not have peace.
Yeah, you will not have peace.
And when you don't have peace, you need to look for a place where you can have peace.
That is why you have Kando.
Yeah, exactly. Those are some of the temporary solutions that people get themselves into. And that is why I think I read a post by Barack Muluka. Barack Muluka is one of the secretary generals of is a secretary general of a political party. And one of the things he's saying is that the president is trying to hijack the public service and put it under his office. Yeah. That means they'll be answerable directly to Felix Koskei, who is the controller of State House.
Is that the reason why they fired Muturi, because they felt like Muturi could not?
Maybe that could be one of the reasons. But also, before we address, I was in a meeting last night and I saw people trying to celebrate Muturi. And it reminded me what I said here another day, Boni, and I'll not get tired of saying this. I told you people, those who are watching this, the day you see people like Gachagua and Justin Muturi starting to appear like now they are the Democrats and they are defending the rights of people, know that we have lost our country. These are people, even Gachagua before impeachment, he was not willing to leave that position. So we know his whatever he says, we take it with a pinch of salt because we know he's bitter that he was removed from that position.
But Muturi declared his stand the moment his son was abducted.
Muturi, why did he have to wait so long to talk about these things? When he has been in government, I know the excuse he'll give his some kind of secrecy and collective, whatever they call it, I don't know. But you see, if I'm a minister and the wrong things are happening and I'm there watching, I don't just stop going for cabinet meetings. I resign, and I resign publicly because I was appointed publicly. Muturi went through vetting by parliament, so he should have given his reasons publicly. He should not have waited for Ruto to fire him. He waited until he was fired.
But he said that he declared the post he was just forced back. Remember when he was the AG, the AG.
Now, if we were to look at this, do you know Muturi still had a powerful position as the Speaker of the National Assembly during the Uhuru regime?
During the Uhuru regime, yeah.
And he saw a lot of wrong things that are happening and he never did anything about it. Read what Omtata is taking to court, I think this week. He's suing both former President Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto for a combined, they want to recover almost slightly over 6 trillion shillings from the two. Now, when this money was being siphoned, as my brother says, and we had the institutions in place, and even the Auditor General was giving a report about the same. What did our leaders do about it? Nothing. Today, even the agencies, the independent commissions, the heads of independent commissions are being, I think, should I say, I'm twisted into joining politics. And that is why you see the likes of the Chief of Defense Forces commenting on political matters. This is something that has never happened in this country. I don't even know any other country that has had the same. The other day it was the IG of police. Now these are the same people, the same guy who is expected to protect all Kenyans, whether they are on this side or the other side. When you decide to go and address a rally as the chief police officer, what do you think those people who don't necessarily support the president will think about you when it comes to elections and you are supposed to provide security to ensure there is a free and fair election? You know, these people don't see far. And that is the challenge we have as Kenyans. What the crisis they are going to bring in this country, like Kriegler said, 2007 would be a walk in the park.
What about Thomas? What would you say? What are you going to say about what Dan have said? Just because on the issue of IG addressing a rally of the president, and the president. Remember, the president claimed that it is not. Why are people looking at IG? Yet there were a lot of policemen there. So he's admitting that he was working with policemen.
This is what we call in another language the politicization of the military. Dan has mentioned about the CDF, Charles Kahariri.
Yeah.
And, we were discussing with you the other day here. The ostensible reason that these gentlemen are giving Kenyans is that they are there to protect the constitution and also constitutionalism. When Kenyans are saying that Ruto must go, well, that's a clarion call, in my opinion, in preparation for 2027. Not necessarily ousting him. But now, when they tell us that they are protecting the constitution, you see, there are a number of questions that we ask ourselves as Kenyans. Are they protecting the constitution and also constitutionalism selectively? See? When we read the Article 3.1 of our constitution, it says that as Kenyans, we have an obligation to protect and also uphold the constitution. 3.2 Dan says that formation of a government contrary to the laid down rules and regulations by the constitution is unlawful. Here is a scenario whereby we have a joint government by ODM, which is an opposition party, and also Kenya Kwanza and also UDA of William Ruto. They have jointly formed a government against the constitution. So why is it that Charles Kahariri, the chief of defense forces, is not talking about that unconstitutionalism? Because now they are telling us they are the champions of protecting the constitution. Why have they not called out that one? Number two, we have a speaker of the National Assembly who is also a party leader of Ford Kenya. The courts have pronounced themselves loud and clear that it's unconstitutional as a public servant to also hold a position as a party leader. These two gentlemen who claim to be champions of a constitutionalism are not calling out this. So as Kenyans, these are the fundamental questions that we are asking ourselves. Are they protecting the constitution selectively? Under civil-military relations, as far as I'm aware, the military are supposed to work from within the confines of our barracks. And their mandate is clearly stipulated in the Constitution. The Kenya Defence Forces Act is very clear that our military are very much professional. They must remain within the barracks and protect our country from external aggression. Bringing the question of military cannot be allowed, and Kenyans are sick and tired about this regime. And I think William Ruto has a very short period of time to change, a failure to which he'll have to meet his Waterloo in 2027. Again, I cannot shy away from saying these are Boniface and Dan. And this one goes to opposition figureheads in this country. They need to put aside their ego and unite to the core. Because if they are not going to be united, then most probably history is going to repeat itself. You can remember Boniface in the elections of 1997, the then President Daniel Moi garnered 2.5 million votes. Emilio Mwai Kibaki was number 2 with 1.9 million votes. He was then followed by Raila Odinga and Michael Kijana Wamalwa. So there was a serious lesson that was learned in 2002 from the elections of 1997. The opposition figureheads learned that their unit of purpose was fundamental in bringing about the change they desired. So that's why in the elections of 2002, 3 former presidential candidates in the election of 1997 united against a state candidate. You saw Michael Kijana Wamalwa, you saw Mwai Kibaki, and also Raila Odinga form a coalition, including Charity Kaloki Ngilu. So they fronted one candidate to face Uhuru Kenyatta, who was a government candidate. So what am I trying to say? If at all the opposition figureheads in this country, I'm talking about Fred Matiang'i, who has not publicly stated that he'll vie, but from what we are seeing online and also offline social media platforms, they say that he'll vie. Talk about Gachagua, the impeached former deputy president. Talk about Kalonzo Musyoka, Martha Karua. If they want to defeat William Ruto, and this I told Professor Fred Ogola also, they need to come up with a coalition of like-minded Kenyans that will face William Ruto. Failure to which, mark my word, failure to which they'll meet their Waterloo in 2027.
Dan, what do you have to say about these politicians who wants to become president? Because we have a lot of them. The other time we were talking about Maraga, and you mentioned that you met Maraga, and I think I also saw it in one of your posts, saying that you talked to Maraga, and he said that he's still thinking. And I think right now is coming out clearly that maybe he might be willing to vie for the presidency. Yeah. Remember, we have Maraga in Kisii, we have got Maraga, and also we have got Fred Matiang'i. Yeah. They're coming from the same tribe. Yeah. And of course, we know very well that if both of them will vie, it is going to be a division in their tribe. Sure. Now, take a look at all those, the Maraga and the Matiang'i supporters. And then we also have these other guys. We have got Fred Ogola, we have got people like Martha Karua, Kalonzo Musyoka, who is very much silent. We don't know what he's thinking. Someone who has got the best opportunity to become the president in 2027, of course. So what are these people? What do you think these guys should do, according to the way Thomas have said, that these people needs to come together? According to you, what do you think these guys needs to do in order, or if at all maybe their main aim is, because everybody is working on how William Ruto can be taken out of power. So what is your take? What are these guys supposed to do?
Yeah, it is true. I've met a few of them. Yeah. There is another one called Ruben Kigame.
Yeah. Of course, I forgot to mention him. That
keep forgetting him. Yeah, He's also threatening to run. And many others, including women candidates, very good candidates. What I'd say, I've sat and listened to Professor Kivuda Kibwana at some point, and he looks like he's a unifying factor, not necessarily because he wants to run. I don't even know whether he wants to run. But I just wish they hold a meeting with the likes of Cyprian Nyamwamu and sit together and talk and give us one candidate. Otherwise, with the way, from the lessons he has given from 1997, if we keep going that way, fortunately, by the way, before 1997, we had we could have a president with the simple majority. But today, somebody has to garner 50% plus one vote. Yeah. So it is likely that we might have many candidates, and then all of them fall below 50%. But of course, if somebody is in power, you go there prepared. Nobody wants to lose a second term. Even Trump in the US didn't want to lose the other time when he was beaten by Joe Biden. But these people it is important that they must sit together and give us one candidate. Or get out of the way and let us organize for them. And decide who runs. By the way, we are not saying there are enough young people who can still run and be president. Even you, Boniface. If we only need a progressive leadership, a progressive mind, and there are millions of Kenyans who can do that.
Why would you think that I would want to have all this stress in this country?
Bonnie. I've spoken to you many times, and I know you and I want the best for this country.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes people get in these things for money. There are those who get in for fame. But some of us get in because we want something better than what we have seen.
That's true. Yeah, that's right.
And also when you look at what is happening in other countries, you realize, by the way, Kenya, we are blessed. There are countries suffering effects of civil wars. Yeah. People have no schools. Kids grow up in the bush, like what is happening in the DRC today. And some parts of Uganda. The other day, we were told in Somalia, the Al-Shabaab are coming up again.
Yeah.
So we are surrounded by neighbors that we can learn from. Not very good examples, but it is also good to know what is happening there so that we don't fall into the same traps. So our leaders must come together, because if they don't come together, somebody used a term, you either hang together or you'll be hanged separately. So it is up to them to decide. But the best person they need to listen to, let them just have a sitting with Kivutha Kibwana. He's just here at Daystar University, not far. He's very approachable, and I think he has a very clear mind. He can advise them. Somebody will go and misquote me and say I was campaigning for Kivutha Kibwana. I'm not doing that, because he has not said he wants to run, but he's very willing to support or to give advice. So the likes of Jirongo, the last time we met Jirongo, he said he cannot support anybody else.
He wants to.
He wants to run. We met Jimmy Wanjigi, he said he cannot support anybody else. He wants to run.
One man army.
Talk to Ruben Kigame. He tells you, unless I'm the candidate, I'm not supporting anyone else. And so many other ones. I've not had a chance to talk to people like Martha Karua. But I know maybe this recording will reach her somewhere, in some way. Yeah. We just met in one of the functions and we didn't have a long discussion. But I also believe she's a good candidate. So we don't have a shortage of people to run. They just need to converge their minds and know that we can win this when we are together. Some of them will be called projects, I know. And I saw a post somewhere that Maraga is a project. I don't know, his people are meeting the DP last night or something like that. So we expect such things to come out. But we also expect that our leaders will be responsible enough. Let them not always front money. Money, you can have a lot of money, but when there is no peace, what do you do with that money? It doesn't help you.
Thomas, do you think it's high time, at least in this country, you also have a female president? Take a look at what is happening in Tanzania, because we've had how many presidents? Men, 5,
Yeah.
5 presidents.
Not even Tanzania, but also Namibia.
Yeah, Namibia, the one that was inaugurated just the other day. Yeah.
Boniface, this is what I like to say. As I said earlier on, the leadership in this country has got an insatiable hunger and also thirst for money. That's why we are seeing all these problems. We are seeing a lot of corruption. We are seeing a lot of underhand deals. Now, in the fortunate or unfortunate event that this regime gets a second term, you can imagine the kind of damage that will be done to this country. I'm saying, and I want you to mark that word, I'm putting it outrightly, in the unfortunate event that President William Ruto comes back for a second term with these people surrounding his regime, this country will be done a lot of injustice. The kind of damage that will be done to this country, I'm putting my words right and clear. The kind of damage that will be done to this country will be so much that it will take ages to repair. It's my clarion call to opposition figureheads, and I'm repeating this, that defeating William Ruto, a lone ranger, in the coming elections will be almost next to impossible. My brother here has mentioned that.
Yeah, that's right.
I want to tender my apology, especially to Kenyans, because I was part and parcel of those who had trumped, who were campaigning for this regime.
Wait a minute. What is happening here? I'm failing to understand. Dan, are you not the guy who campaigned for William Ruto going to different churches? In fact, you are the SG.
Leave alone that. I was not the SG. I was the national organizing secretary. At some point, I became the national coordinator of the Hustler Nation movement. And I have apologized to Kenyans many times. There are those who have never forgiven me up to now. I still apologize to them. You see, and this is what Kina Muturi came to find out the other day. We found out this just immediately after the swearing in. We realized, no, this is not the same guy we campaigned for.
So you tell us a bit of your story now. The experience that you've had with Kenyans.
This is what had happened, Boniface. And you know, as I told you last time, I'm always trained to be truthful and to speak facts. You
are the truthful man now.
In the run-up to the elections of 2023, to the elections of 2022, the then President Uhuru Kenyatta had suffered from the lame duck effect, in the sense that he had plunged the country into a serious economic crisis. By that time, we were talking about a lot of corruption issues. Then the gentleman I had held a high regard for, that was Raila Amolo Odinga, a paragon of moral and intellectual virtue, joined hands with the oppressive Uhuru regime. Then now, as young Kenyans, we were left with an option of supporting William Ruto, who had presented himself as the better option. In fact, I bought his bottom-up economic transformational agenda. So now here we find ourselves between a very hard place,
a rock and a stone,
and also a very hard rock. The person that we thought could transform and also turn around the economy of this country is now the one that has plunged our economy into a place that we can never recover from.
Honorable, let me ask this question. Thomas, sorry, before I go to Dan. Why is it that Kenyans are normally very blinded when it comes to the elections, and then you come to realize that their eyes opens a year or two after the person that they elected is ruling?
You see, this now, for example, let's talk about the leadership style of one William Ruto. From where I sit, I can say that he is an intelligent politician. Intelligent in the sense that he has never lost a single election since he joined active politics in the year 1997, when he won the Eldoret North parliamentary seat, beating the strongman Ruben Chesire. So since then, he has been winning elections.
Winning or stealing? There's between winning and stealing.
I don't believe that William Ruto stole the last election.
Okay, let's continue.
That one was not stolen.
Now let us just go back there.
Yeah. So he is an intelligent politician. because of what I've told you since 1997, he has not lost any single elective election. So, but I believe that the elections of 2027 will be defined by the political economy of this country. And Kenyans are sick. They are not only sick, Boniface, but also tired.
Sick and tired.
Exactly. 2 in 1. So, this is why I believe that either he will be working with Raila Odinga, who I don't think whether he'll have any serious impact, because, like for example, in the last elections, William Ruto beat Raila Odinga by 234,000 votes.
Yeah, 234.
And 700,000, a staggering 700,000
Came from Nyanza.
Luo voters
Did not vote.
from Raila's Luo Nyanza political bastion never voted.
That is why he calls.
You can imagine.
Inaitwaje? Bedroom.
Yeah. And this one, I had even told his son, is the son to Oburu Odinga, a great friend of mine, Jaoko Oburu. I had sent him and I told him, now that I cannot reach Baba physically, I know you meet on a daily basis, just go and tell him this. Number one, Uhuru Kenyatta is not going to assist him. Number two, the deep state is not going to assist him. Number three, he needs to go out and campaign like never before. Especially tell his kinsmen to come out and vote for him. You know what Jaoko told me? We met here at the Junction Mall, just a few kilometers from here. He said, my brother, we have the deep state. We have everything. We have resources. You saw what happened at KICC?
Yeah,
the red carpet.
So the red carpet and all that. Oh, Honorable Dan. Sorry for cutting you short, Thomas. Huh?
Yeah.
Let me ask this question. Raila Odinga, that is we call him people's president. That is how
we used to call him
people's president
until he joined the hands with the enemy of the people.
Now, Raila Odinga is, I think this narrative has been there. It is not only Raila Odinga who is mentioning it. I heard that is the governor of Kisumu County, Anyang' Nyong'o, also saying it, that ODM will be in the ballot 2027. Raila Odinga also said it just the other day when they were in Mombasa. If ODM are going to be in the ballot 2027, Raila Odinga joined hands with William Samoei Ruto. Who is this candidate that ODM are going to have to fight for the presidency?
That is a very good question. Now, you and I have been in this country long enough to know the history of Raila Odinga. In 97, after the 97 election, there was a handshake between Raila Odinga and Daniel Arap Moi.
Yeah.
When the Tinga was swallowed by the Jogo.
The Jogo,
What happened after that? KANU was defeated in the 2002 elections. After let's go to the referendum. What happened? There was the yes side and the no side. And just before I say what I want to say, people must remember that this president, the current president, was one of the very fierce leaders of the no side. They didn't want this constitution. And no wonder he's not willing to implement some of these things, and he wants to grab some of the commissions. You see, he's already controlling parliament. So he voted no. Now, from the referendum is where we got the ODM and PNU. We had Chungwa and banana. So the Chungwa became ODM. Now, the following election, after, of course, when we went to the 2007, there was the post-election violence that led to the handshake between Kibaki and Raila. Remember, we had lost 1,133 people, innocent people. Died. For Raila Odinga to become prime minister. Now Raila has a habit of, he behaves like there is this animal he keeps referring to, ngiri. You know ngiri? Hii kasongo hii.
Kasongo.
Yes. The ngiri has a very short memory. Or it
forgets so fast.
It forgets so fast. Raila forgot the people he has been dealing with don't wish him well. He assumed that just because he has been prime minister, he's going to be supported in the coming when Kibaki retires. It never happened, and he lost to Uhuru. He did a handshake with Uhuru for political convenience. If you look at the people who have accumulated too much wealth in this country, I think Raila is among the top 3 richest families, richest people in Kenya today, courtesy of the handshakes he has been having, so that he enjoys political power without responsibility. Today, even if Raila is given billions of shillings, nobody will ask him anything.
And when he become, even if somebody said, I had Joachim, one of these guys here, and say that just the way you mentioned, that Raila fears responsibilities.
Exactly.
Why do you think?
He fears responsibility because he knows he can be very careless. Raila is that kind of... Uhuru used to call Kibaki hands off, eyes off, ears off, everything off. Raila is the kind of person who trusts people like Junet Mohammed or Hassan Joho. He will give them power and go to sleep. And he drinks and gets drunk and doesn't know what is happening. That is what happened in the last election. Let me tell you, my brother, you don't believe William Ruto stole. I was involved in the electoral process at some point, and you see, the William Ruto is sharp because we had organized a team for him across the whole country, including the agents. The mistake that the ODM side made was not to send agents to some parts of Central, and that is where he got most of the votes. I was involved in the elections in one of the counties in Central myself.
In other words,
let me tell you, Boniface, when it came to counting and verifying and signing those documents, imagine there was no ODM agent in most of those polling stations. So the agents who are there, or any other person who was there, whether they support which party, were signing on behalf of the ODM agents. Who verifies whether these are the correct votes? And those are some of the weaknesses that were there. But I can also give you this prediction. Raila has said in 2027, when ODM once they'll present a candidate, he's speaking what is in his heart. Raila is going to hold on to this handshake up to early next year, 2026. The moment the campaigns get into top gear, he will jump out with people like he did against Moi in 2002, before the 2002 elections. So Raila is not somebody who can be trusted because of his history.
And then you can't predict him.
And you cannot predict. And that is also a bad sign of a leader. A good leader should be consistent. We should know this is what you stand for. Not demonizing somebody today and tomorrow you are with them for your own convenience.
But he said that they did not call Ruto when they did not go to Ruto.
Of course now Raila can afford to say anything because Ruto is vulnerable. Do you think without Raila and the Gen Z wave, Ruto would survive? He would not. And that is why he fired half or all his cabinet?
Almost all.
After the last June. Unfortunately, when he went to reconstituting, he brought back the same people that we were against.
Honorable Thomas, I don't know why I'm used to this honorable anyway. Just as we wind up, because I'm seeing our time is also not on our side, I want to ask you this last question. That the vetting of the chairman of IEBC is going. I think we talked about this. It's going on, and a lot of people have been vetted. And based on what Junet Mohammed said, that even if you put your brother as the chairman of commission, it is not the chairperson of the IEBC that steals votes. What do you say? And then I think that you'll also handle that. Yeah.
This is what I believe. Foremost, Boniface.
Yes.
This country has gone for a good number of days without a properly constituted IEBC, and this has had a serious implication, especially by those areas that don't have proper representation,
including my area.
Be it in the National Assembly, be it in county assemblies. For example, the people of Banisa constituency have been without a member of parliament for close to 2 years now. We also have quite a good number of county
constituencies,
wards. Let's talk about wards that have no representation. So the IEBC constitution is coming at a time when most Kenyans are reeling from not being represented. So I pray that the IEBC selection panel gives us a candidate who will be up to the task. We have seen what incompetent IEBC or chairpersons have done previously. History has recorded that in the year 2007, Samuel Kivuitu plunged this country into a lot of chaos and anarchy. I remember he was being asked, who is the president? And his answer was, I don't know. That's a whole chairperson of an electoral body saying that I don't know. We saw the manner in which Mwai Kibaki was sworn in at 7 p.m. This is supposed to be a ceremony whereby
everybody celebrates.
Heads of state come, they celebrate with you. So I believe that the next chairperson and also commissioners, they should be people with integrity. Chapter 6 of the Constitution has pronounced itself loud and clear on the qualities of these state officers. Someone I've dropped somewhere that the choice of a IEBC chairperson is already predetermined, and what we are seeing in our national television is just a formality,
propaganda.
So that's a statement that needs to be taken seriously, because we really need someone who has the interest of Kenyans at heart, who understands what is he or she is entitled to do. Because any slight mistake, especially from the chairperson of IEBC, will plunge this country into chaos and anarchy. And as I said here last week, it will be extremely difficult for President William Ruto to rig the elections of 2027. I saw somewhere Oscar Sudi claim that they will get votes to make them president, be it that Kenyans vote for them or they don't vote for them. But remember, here we have a constituency of 4 million Kenyans who are formally employed and who are tired by the manner in which their pay slips have raided, and they have pronounced themselves clear that they will vote against this regime. So I don't really know where William Ruto is going to get votes to top up, as Oscar Sudi mentioned the other day, that they'll get votes to top up so that they get a second term. And as we finish Boniface, and I said this earlier, that in the unfortunate event that William Ruto gets a second term, where he knows that he'll not be seeking another term, this country will be done a lot of damage that will take ages to recover. So it's It's my clarion call to Kenyans. We really need to rise up to the occasion, so that we are counted when history will be made in this country to make William Ruto a one-term president.
That's
and if he'll come back the Trump way is also a question of another day.
That's good.
But for 2027, we are prepared to take him to Sugoi.
Yeah, we like my brother says, we still have the skills we had when we organized the last election. And even as this process of choosing the next chairperson of the IEBC continues, unfortunately it is a suicide mission, like from what we have seen. And I want to commend them because they are very courageous. I'd not apply for that job myself, even if I was qualified. But that one aside, as a common person, I think I have a solution for this, what they can do to make our elections less hostile and we get results in record time. There is a country, I don't know, is it in Africa, where they use marbles to vote. They just throw marbles into a box and the marbles are counted, and we don't have to spend all this money we spend on printing ballot papers. It doesn't make sense. Secondly, we don't need to prepare another voters register when we have people already registered and with IDs. We only need somebody's ID number to clear them to go and vote, and we can do it even the digital way, where somebody just comes in, the ID number is keyed into the system. And I know a lot of companies here in town which can come up with a software that can handle that. Once you key in your ID in the system, it locks you, so you cannot vote twice. Then you just proceed there and choose your candidate on a screen where agents are watching. Somebody can even be allowed to say, I'm voting for you, for example. Says your name. Then those who can assist in ensuring. And that vote is transmitted electronically directly to a big screen somewhere where everybody's seeing and the numbers are counted in real time. That way it will help us get rid of the high cost of running elections, and we will get results in time, so that we don't have this anxiety that is around during the times of tallying votes. The current situation, the way it is, and this is where the stealing of votes happens. A candidate is declared at the polling station. There is a form, what is it called? That form 34A.
34A.
Yes, that form is filled by the presiding officer and signed by the agents at the polling station. We don't change these people. We still have the returning officer and the agents at the polling station, but now what happens is we go electronic. It is possible. We don't even need everybody to have a smartphone or whatever to do it. We only need, like the KEMS kits that we were using. We can use the same ones to vote. We just feed in the names and the pictures of the people who are running. You just go there, my brother, it is a touch screen. You touch on the photo of the person you want, and that is automatically voting, and we are done with that phase of the counting.
But now the question is, when will you get there? When will
we get there? I think if the people, let me tell you something about people who are above my age. These people fear technology, because many of them think technology is replacing their jobs. Actually, some of these people hang on those traditional jobs because they want to keep earning. We should reach a point where people are not motivated anymore by how much I'm getting at the end of the month, but by the results. Is the economy growing or not? Let me quickly mention something else that is affecting those who are working in government today. Many people are there because their main motivation is to earn money to be able to take care of their families. Maybe they have loans somewhere they are paying. They are not there because they are motivated to bring a difference in this country. So they work under constant fear. So long as you lie low so that you are not noticed and you keep earning a salary. That is the kind of problem we have with the people who are above my age. But people who are my age downwards don't fear technology. They know it is a solution to many things. So if the IEBC can just embrace technology and allow one official document that will be used by all voters, that is the national ID, then we can win this without drop. We will imagine we will not even need policemen to go and guard those votes.
But now you're talking about technology, and the person that is in charge of ICT was said publicly that he doesn't understand his job as a CS.
That is why I'm telling you, the people who are above my age, I know. Some of these people are political appointees. They were appointed not necessarily because they know what they are supposed to do, but because of political connections. You remember what Muturi said, that they are cabinet secretaries who wake up and leave their wives in bed and go to have breakfast at State House. Can you imagine? That is how idle some of those people are. They don't have anything they are offering. They just want to be seen around the president.
They want to be seen around the president.
That is their definition of being loyal. Being loyal, it doesn't mean when you are not seen. For example, if I have a job somewhere, for example, my boss doesn't have to see me every day in the office to know that I'm working, but they should be able to see the results of my work.
Exactly.
Once they see the result, it is okay. But there are people who just want to be seen hanging around. I've given you the solution, Boniface. Now I want to talk to the other Kenyans who are listening to us.
I hope that is your last statement.
We hold Twitter spaces, and we are in a position to educate each other on these matters, including this technology we are talking about as we go to elections. I've worked with people in software development companies, and I know this is something that is possible. A software is a solution to all these problems we have. Something that cannot be manipulated by a human being.
Yeah.
So if we can think that if we could deliver Kim's kits to all the polling stations in this country in the last election,
Nothing is impossible.
We can run a digital election.
Thomas?
I like to buttress what my brother had spoken. I don't know whether you can remember Boniface. He had talked about a gentleman by the name Dr. Mbaye. Actually, I've been hearing about him. But now, yesterday night, I spent a good time, around 2 hours, listening to him. In fact, I slept around 1, listening to this gentleman, Dr. Mbaye. He was in a show. He was being hosted in a show by this lady by the name Lini Ngugi. So this gentleman was entrusted with this regime. They deliver what? The
Presidential Delivery Unit.
Presidential Delivery Unit. But he resigned along the way due to frustrations,
Pressure and all
so
that.
this guy, what he was saying, and I think you really need to get time and host him. Those are some of the. If we get around 50 people like those ones, and also my brother here, I think this country will be transformed. So this is what the gentleman was saying, and I like to paraphrase him. He was saying that for him, it's not about money and power. It's about delivery to the people. So with respect to him, he was saying that he was going to different ministries, different dockets, and asking the CSS, the PSS, with respect to this budget, I'd like you to highlight all the projects that you've done against the budget
That is remaining.
Yeah. And now those CSS were just disrespectful. And they were frustrating him. And that's why he resigned. But the bottom line remains. And what touched my heart is that he said that for him, it's about service to humanity, service to the people. It's not about power, not about cars, not about money, but delivery to the common man.
So the main thing here, as you conclude, I think the main thing that I can say is the problem is that we elect leaders.
See, Boniface, we have leaders whose measure of success in this life is having high-end cars, having a lot of billions stashed in foreign accounts, flying in choppers. That is their measure of success. But to people like Dr. Mbaye, success in life is when those you serve are satisfied. And I cannot go without saying that in the book of Jeremiah 29, God tells us that he has great plans for prosperity. So to our people who are watching us, all is not lost. Let God open our eyes and ears so that we put in place leaders who put interests of the common man at their heart and not their personal interest.
Honorable Dan, how do we measure your wealth?
How do you measure my wealth?
Yes.
In fact, I don't even want you to measure my wealth, but just look at
as a leader.
As a leader.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in measuring anybody's wealth. But as my brother has said, let's measure by the impact we have on the lives of people. You know, Bonnie, how many people out there are sleeping hungry?
A lot of them.
60% of Kenyans cannot afford a meal
on a daily basis
as we speak now. In fact, sometimes I think of this and I wonder how my parents would afford to give us 3 meals in a day. Today, even me, I struggle to provide for myself and my people. You see the way what I'm saying? So, when the measure of leadership becomes how many choppers do you have? How many luxury cars do you have? Some are even going into marrying many wives because and they do it openly and proudly and they go boasting that they have money. You know, our bar of choosing leadership is too low. We wait until people appear with money. 3 months to elections, they give us money and we start singing their names and they get elected. But if we were a bit more serious with this, you see, my brother quoted the Bible. I also want to quote some section of the Bible. You see, before David became a king, because you remember when Samuel was sent to anoint him and he checked out of all the tall ones, handsome ones, and Samuel said, no, God has not chosen any of this. Is there any other? Then he anointed David as a very young boy. But David didn't become a king immediately. He went back to looking after the gods, and he grew from experience of killing lions and those other dangerous animals. So that when his time came to become a king, through that experience of being a herds boy, he knew the life that the common people go through. He knew which problems he should focus on as a leader. Here, do we ask people, do we bother to look at the history of people, or they just appear? Where I come from, there are 2 gentlemen who are accused of murder in a court of law. And they are very busy preparing to run for election in the next election. And I'm almost very sure these people, if we are not careful, might be elected. Yes. So what kind of leadership are we talking about? What we need, I think the general population is a problem. And, we get the leaders we deserve. Today we have leaders like William Ruto because we deserve them. But they should be a lesson to us that is not the way to identify and choose leaders. Next time I'm doing some organizing work for anybody, I'll also have to look at their background very critically. I have to reach a point where I'm convinced that this person and I share a vision. We have to at least have something in common. I cannot just organize for you and you reach there and you change into somebody else. Or I can even run myself. Kwani ni kesho.
So, Boniface,
Yes.
as we finish, my brother has mentioned something when you asked about a measure of wealth. You see, in developed countries, the other day Dayton was here. He has been in Sweden. He said that even prime ministers in that country, they go to work using bicycles.
You're using bicycles.
But now, the greatest tragedy of our time and history is that for our members of parliament, for our governors, for our presidents, high-end cars, choppers, is a measure of wealth. When Kenyans are living at the very bottom of the barrel, when Kenyans are hanging from extreme tight economic ropes. So for me, it's my clarion call to Kenyans that we should not be confused by money. Because at the end of the day, that's our money. We need to have a look at leaders with vision and mission for this country. Those people who come to us with choppers, with high-end Brados, with cars, that's nonsense.
Okay.
We need to do away with them. We elect people who have passion to serve. And I don't know whether Mbai wants to go for any political seat, because when he was saying that he has a passion to serve this country.
People, unfortunately for people like Mbai and possibly you and me, because of the financial muscle,
Exactly.
people might not necessarily listen to us, but we will keep speaking. One of these days, we will convince enough people that money is not everything.
Exactly.
You see, if I have to bribe you so that you give me your vote, then I'll have to spend another time recovering the money I used to bribe you. But if I can, because I have an idea that can give you a solution, and you listen to me, you will even enjoy being a Kenyan, because you have the right people in place who are not interested in stealing. The reason Okia Omtata is taking Uhuru and Ruto to court for 6-point-something trillion is because that money disappeared under their watch. Now, there is something interesting that I found out last night. Do you know there is no law that allows our Auditor General to audit the loans that our country, our leaders take from foreign countries? The Auditor General is restricted, if I got it right, is restricted to auditing only what we collect as taxes. So I can go somewhere and take a loan of 10 billion and deposit 1 billion with the exchequer and eat 9 billion and nobody knows anything about it. You will only come to learn about it when it is time to pay back. That is, and we elect people in that parliament to make laws. They have not made such a law up to now.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time.
Thank you.
And one thing I have to say, I think I can end this by saying that the Bible says that leaders are elected by God. But now the problem that we have in this country is that one thing I know is that God cannot give us thieves as leaders. I'm sure of that okay, leaders are elected by God, are chosen by God. But now the question that we need to ask ourselves, even as Kenyans, is that the leaders that we have, were we given to them by God because what they are doing is contrary to what the Bible says? What they are doing is contrary to what our God is giving us. The big question is, are we still waiting for God to give us other leaders who are going to steal from us? Or we are waiting to elect leaders who are stealing, and then we claim that they have been given to us by God. The choice is ours, and we have got the best opportunity to make the right choice coming 2027. After all, guys, that is all we have for today. And until we meet again in the next video, if it is possible, I have been your host, Boniface. Bye-bye.